Hello and welcome to the Bold Leadership Story Show. Today we're live on Facebook and YouTube, and I'm honored to be spending a little time with Cindee Williams. Cindee is the founder of Lead My Life, Lead My Life, and a Maxwell Leadership Certified Speaker and Coach. A multi-business owner for over 3 decades, realtor, wife, mom, and hopeless fitness junkie. I think maybe learned something about that today. He has a strong belief that every woman is a leader within that's just waiting to make an impact on her corner of the world. I love that. She created Lead My Life to empower women to live exceptional lives, advance daily, and achieve their dreams. LEAD.
Yes.
That's fantastic, Cindee. How did you come up with that?
Well, that's long. Do you want the long or the short? I'll just tell you, Lead My Life came about in September, actually. I mean, there's a 10-year before that, but the actual Lead My Life, we take about 2 to 3 weeks at the end of each quarter to what I call reflect, reset, and renew. And I do my writing and all that. And I was sitting on the shore of Lake Irwin.
Where's Lake Irwin at?
Lake Irwin it's at 10,500 feet.
Wow, that's above the tree line. That's like Alpine.
Crested Butte, Colorado. You got the Rocky Mountains behind you. It's absolutely beautiful. We've been going there for over 30 years. And I was coming up with my business plan for my coaching program that had been in existence for a couple of years. And I'm like, I'm missing something, so I'm really narrowing down on who my people are. And I came up with Lead My Life, and lead means to live exceptional. Mm-hmm. And I know you have the word exceptional in your tagline, and that's a really special word for me.
Okay. Why is that?
In my opinion, my definition is that it means to do excellent differently. So we can do excellent things, right? We all can strive to do excellent things, but it's the person who's exceptional, who goes above and beyond, who sees what everyone else is doing, and they run brave enough to run in their own direction, to take excellent and do it their own way. I call them salmon. I'm a salmon.
Okay. Salmon are like fighting.
Fighting against the current. And, we got a mission. We're focused. We got to get upstream to the fresh water to fulfill our dream. And that's what exceptional. It's a very special word. It's one of my core values. So I'm like, okay, live exceptional. And then I've learned over the course of my story, which I'm sure we'll get into, is that we must advance daily. If we are going to achieve anything in our life, it doesn't happen overnight. It happens by taking consistent efforts today that will lead to something tomorrow. So it's advance daily, live exceptional, advance daily, achieve your dreams.
And my mind is still up in Lake Irwin.
Oh, me too. My mind lives there sometimes.
Well, tell me, what is it that you love about that experience of being up there?
We discovered, my husband and I, so we've been married for 32 years, and thank you, our very first year of marriage, we got married in December, so it was like that summertime. We didn't have anything, but we put together enough money to buy a 1973 Coleman tent trailer.
Wow, okay.
And it was, 2 fishermen had owned it, and, it was a piece of work. We put it behind my husband's little pickup truck, and we said, we're going to go on an adventure. We didn't know where we were going. We just pointed the car towards Colorado. That's where he had went to school. And I opened up back then we had paper maps, and I opened up the AAA travel guide. Okay. And I was looking for places. Yeah, like the Thomas guides.
Right, yeah. So for the pre-Thomas guide.
Yeah, and we knew Crested Butte because we were very big mountain bikers and cyclists, and we're like, they have the Fat Tire Festival. It's like one of the biggest mountain bike festivals in the world. So we knew about Crested Butte.
That's one of my favorite brews, Fat Tire.
Yeah. Well, they have a big mountain bike festival in the summer, and we're like, well, where can we camp? And we'd never been there before. And so we found it in the travel guide. We drove up a dirt road outside of town for 7 miles. We never thought we would find it. It was a washboardy road with our tent trailer and all that. And we
miles up in the wilderness like that. That's
it was awesome. And we kept going up and up, and we're like, where is this? And we come around the corner. And out of the trees, out of everything, in this lake, just it's like, oh, there it is. You got the Rocky Mountains behind you, the snow, it was beautiful. And we have been going to Lake Irwin every summer, and now every fall. We go in September and October because we can, with the kids not at home anymore. And it's our place. We brought the kids there when they were babies. We had our son when he was 8 months old, before he could even walk. We had him hiking up 12,000 feet on our backs. It's our son.
Okay. That's really cool. And it sounded to me, when you were describing your experience in coming up with LEAD and that idea, that there was some spirituality aspect there for you.
Always.
Can you describe that?
Well, I mean, if we go back just a little bit, I was at age 23, I guess it was. I graduated from college, kind of found myself in that transition phase. Didn't really know what I was doing in life. And at that point, kind of at the bottom of my barrel, broke up with my boyfriend of 4 years. And that was the best decision I ever made. And I'm like, you know what? I want to have a relationship with God. I want to know what that's like. I feel like I have this huge hole in my life. I have this huge void. I don't know why, but I gave my life over to God and began exploring that. In the course of that, just within a couple weeks, I met a woman who started taking me to church. In the course of that, I met my husband. All kinds of amazing things started to happen from that one relationship. But, we do go through hard seasons in our life. It's just how things are. Nothing's always a continual joyous ride. And by the time 2012 came along, I was in a really bumpy road. And I closed up my Bible and put it on a shelf for 10 years. And so when I was up, age 50 now, on Lake Irwin, in 2021, I opened it back up again, and there's a whole story behind that.
Wow.
Just realize that the reason why I'm broken as an empty nest mom, the reason why I feel so empty, is because I closed myself off. That things had gotten so hard that I just kind of put it as I insulated myself off from the world. And it was like God said, I'm calling you out now. I'm giving you a voice, and you're going to go speak, and you're going to go do things. And so it was that journey forward from age 50. I'm going to be 56 pretty soon. The last 6 years have been very powerful in my life. So the live exceptional, I wasn't living exceptional. I was living small. I was hidden, isolated, being a victim in my own life. And I said, no more of this. You got things to do.
Very good. Wow, that is exceptional. It takes so much courage to step out like that and to find who you really are. And then be able to have the gumption, the guts, if you will, to step out into the unknown and have faith. It's the ultimate faith, almost, is stepping out like that and you've become a speaker. Have you written books?
I'll talk about that in a bit.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And then you speak, you've written books, you have a program now that you run, a coaching program. Tell me about that. Tell me about your coaching program.
Well, what I found when, kind of at age 50, where, I'm like, okay, God, you've done something here in my life. What
Mhm.
do I do with it? What I was looking for was community. I was looking for connection with other
Mhm.
women. I had isolated myself for so long that I had lost connection with women friendships, which I found out is very common in women in midlife, is kind of the friendships that we had with our kids' moms and stuff kind of fall to the wayside. And a lot of times we feel very isolated and very lonely. May have a great relationship with my husband, but my husband isn't meant to be my everything. He's not.
Oh, yeah, that's
It
important.
puts way too much burden on him if I have to rehash every single story with him. I want to do that with my girlfriends.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So,
You got to bring some new, fresh things to the
yeah,
relationship. Both do to make that work.
yeah, exactly. Some newness. So I found that I needed community. I needed connection. I needed coaching. I needed a guide. I
Mhm.
knew where I wanted to go, but I didn't
Mhm.
know how to get there.
Okay.
And I also needed change. So that's where I'm forgetting your question now because you got me off track. I got myself
My
off
scheme
track.
is working. Oh, you're doing fine. It's I was interested in asking you. I was interested in your story about how you developed the lead program
Okay,
and describing your coaching program now. That's
right.
going to
So
bring up your
it just
website. Why don't I'll add that to the stage and we can talk about
oh,
that.
okay. Okay. Yeah. So what I was looking for was a coaching program and I didn't really realize it. So I started stepping out. And one of the things that I found was I called myself shy. I wasn't, I was just lazy.
Mhm.
And what I needed to do is open the front door of my house and walk out into the world and start making friends.
Okay.
So I
That makes sense.
developed.
That thrill in the door.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like,
like I'm
oh,
putting my stake in the ground today and I'm changing. How do I do that? So I said I need friends, right? I need an inner circle of people. I just knew that. So I
mhm.
started something called 52 coffees. And I was
52
like,
copies. What is that?
52 coffees. It's the name of my new podcast, but it's
Okay.
also at the
Wow. Pretty
time,
cool.
it was like, I am going to take one woman that I do not know out to coffee every single week.
Okay. So
You can find
that's
out her
per year.
story.
That's amazing. That's a really great way to meet people. I find
Yes,
just going out with coffee because it builds your community, it builds
yes,
relationships. It's
yes,
people that are local because you have to actually physically instead of here like on a Zoom or Facebook, you've actually got to be nose to nose and toes to toes.
yeah. And
Connect.
it develops your ability to connect eye to eye instead of with our phones. And it was
Exactly.
really hard. It was a stretch for me. And so I
Okay.
just went to my Facebook group and I just reached out to people. Nobody ever said no. Not one person ever said no because you know what? The other women were hungering for connection too.
Okay.
And that's once I started doing that, then I developed an inner accountability circle of friends. And it's like one door after another started to open up and it just started to expand my world. So the more that we step into God's trust and into his light, it's like the more our world expands and he goes, okay, you did this, good job. I'm going to give you a little more. I can give you a little more. And, and it just continued to build. So it built to this. This is Lead My Life, what
Mhm.
you have up. And this is my coaching platform. We just launched it on January 10th. Uh,
Okay.
super excited. So I needed a home. I didn't want it just to be here in the Temecula Valley because I have people who are like, I want it. And they're in Florida or in Tennessee. I even have 2 clients who are overseas internationally. I needed a home for people to go to where they can be a community, where we can lift each other up, where we can connect. And and they can receive coaching. So if you scroll up, I mean, or scroll down, but I have different levels of membership. So you can come on as a club member, and be part of our group coaching calls and be part of our workshops that we do. I have the Lead My Life Gold member is you come in, you actually get my curriculum that I write. and it's a little deeper dive. And then the VIP local is my mastermind group that I have with just 24 local ladies, and we're taking a deep dive in all year long. It's really amazing. We meet once a month for a dinner mastermind, and I was an event wedding planner, so I bring it so they have linen tablecloths and there's candles and there's dinner, and it's a beautiful evening. They come to after work and they're able to sit down with ladies. I go through, it's themed. So January was being intentional in your life. February was concentrating on awareness, unwrapping the gift of awareness, getting to know you. Every month has a theme. And that's, it's been beautiful. I just love it.
That's so cool. Guys don't do that stuff. They're like, yeah, just meeting for lunch, you know. But
you have connection there too. It's important for men to get together. If you want to, I don't want to just leave it on prices. That's no fun.
Yeah.
You can scroll up, but there's posts. The ones that are blurry are the ones that are locked, because those are for members only.
Behind the wall there. So
yeah, you're behind the wall. So I record our workshops. We have Monday is accountability, where we write down, we post, okay, this is what I'm working on. This is my one thing that I'm working on this week. And we hold each other accountable. Then on Fridays, we do like a feedback Friday. We celebrate our wins, talk about our fails, what we're going to do to move forward. So it's a really fun place to communicate and receive encouragement and empowerment.
Very cool. Looks like fun.
It is.
And
it is a lot of fun. And there's Todd.
And you guys are avid cyclists.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. I would say Todd is an avid cyclist, and he brings me along for the ride. And I'm an avid runner. I'm a runner. And,
okay.
And the one thing where we connect and both of us do it well is hiking. So hiking levels the playing field for both of us.
Okay. I've done a lot of hiking myself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why we love going to Colorado and hiking the 49ers or 14ers. And yeah. So anyways, that's the platform. There's always things to look at and be encouraged by, lots of connection there.
Excellent. So what do you see now for you for the future? You've been through the Maxwell leadership. So you're a Maxwell certified trainer, and you're also a certified coach.
Yes.
How has that work helped you in this stepping out into the unknown?
Well, one of the things I just wrote my blog on this week. We're focusing in on investing in you. Mm-hmm. So once you make a decision and say, you know what, I need to do something in my life. I need to lead my life, right? It starts with us, starts right here. As we start moving out, we need to start investing in ourselves to move forward. We can't do it alone. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes that requires a monetary investment. It's a commitment. If I had a gap in my resume big enough to drive a truck through, and my skill set was from the 90s. If I was going to step out, no one would take a chance on me. I needed to take a chance on me. I needed to invest in me. I needed to develop the skill set. So I looked around to the different programs, mentorships, things that would help me develop the skills to do what I needed to do. And John Maxwell was the one that really stood out, because I have him right here. Okay. Because he was a pastor, mm-hmm. Speaks to presidents of countries, he speaks to CEOs and executives and all of that, but all of his principles have that underlying biblical principle to it.
Right.
And I loved that, because I may not necessarily be working with women of faith, but I want my principles and what I talk about to be there, not necessarily that I'm preaching at them, but if they see something different in me, they may ask me about my faith, and then I can share it. Okay. And I really loved that about him. So I went to his Orlando, Florida, the International Maxwell Conference. Mm-hmm. It was the most amazing experience ever, because in a room of 3,000 people, They were just like me. They had all the excitement. They loved to help people. They were wanting to do the very same things that I was. And it was like, I found my people. It was
Right. That's a good feeling, isn't it?
It is. It is.
So tell me who the, I don't know, the ideal personality is that you're interested in working with and helping.
Right. And that's a really important thing to identify, no matter what business you're in, no matter what organization, is like, who are my people? Who am I wanting to reach? Well, like Ed Milet says, that you're the most qualified to help the person that you were. Right.
Right. Yeah.
So I kind of look back to, midlife woman. So most of my people in my program are, 45 to 65. The kids have left the nest. They've just spent the last 20, 25 years of their life pouring all of their energy, their heart, and their soul into their families. And they could have a career, or it doesn't matter, but you still have poured so much of yourself into everybody else around you that you probably tied up your box of dreams and put them on a shelf somewhere, and they have gathered dust and you don't even know what they are anymore.
Right.
That's my person. That's my person who comes out and says, I want to do something with my life. I see that I may have a shorter road ahead of me than I have behind me.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to make the most of it. So no, I don't work with people who sit on the couch, because maybe I'll inspire you and give you a feel good for the moment. But if you don't want to do something with your life, then I'm not your person. But if you're ready, let's go.
Let's rock and roll.
I'll bring it, and you'll meet me halfway, and we're going to do things.
Awesome. By the way, Bob Donnell's watching. He says hello.
Oh, hello.
Do you know Bob?
What's his last name?
Donnell?
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. He's a friend of mine. He's one of my coaches.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah. So, hello, Bob.
Hello, Bob.
So you've got several things going on. You do a blog now, and you've also started a YouTube channel. Is that what you said?
Right. So I'm trying to go back just a little bit on December 27th, 2020, when I told you that I just opened my Bible for the very first time. I pulled out one of these, and I didn't even know journal. I didn't even know what to write in my journal. I didn't know what to read in the Bible. Mm-hmm. But I was so broken and so empty in my soul that I just picked up a pen and I opened to the Psalms, started with Psalm 1. And I said, I just copied the words. I just copied the Psalms because I didn't even know what to write. Well, after a couple weeks of doing that, God was starting just to speak to me, and I started writing. And writing was a passion when I was a little girl. I filled up journals, and journals, wrote plays, all kinds of things. And I'm an avid reader, but I hadn't written in so long. Well, all of a sudden, I'm just filling up multitudes of journals. And God gave me something in that Psalm 52:8. But I am like an olive tree, flourishing in the house of my God. And I'm going to trust in him forever and ever. And that word flourish took on a new meaning for me. And I'm like, I love that word. That is all things feminine and lovely and strong. And you could see the olive tree just growing its roots down into the ground. And I'm like, I want to flourish. I've been hidden for so long. I want to flourish. I want to bloom up suddenly. That's what the word means. And what happened is God just started revealing to me this word flourish, and every letter of that word became an affirmation for me. F is to be, I'm free to live a large life, to the life that God created me to live. L, I have a love of my life and love of others. O is to be outward focused, stepping over that threshold with open hands, releasing everything to God and just living my life with open hands now. I'm not holding on to it. U is to understand my God and understand others, even if I don't agree with them. I want to know where they're coming from. Like you, I want to know the stories. How'd you get there? R is to redeem the time that was lost. I know I'm redeemed. I know I'm redeemed, but we have regrets about the things that we didn't do with our time. Maybe we have regrets about how we spent our money and we didn't save enough. We have a lot of regrets. Lord, help me to redeem the time. Help me to redeem my finances. Help me to redeem the things that were lost in my life. I want to make the most of my life from this point forward. I is inspiration of hope. That's breathing life into others. S is to be still before my God. And H is to have a healthy body, mind, and soul. And he gave me that over a period of a month. And I wrote my first book off of that. And, it's incredible. And that's how I kind of formed the whole basis off what I do. And I repeat that to myself. Those are my core values. Every day I say that as a prayer, just help me to live that out, Lord. So that's how the blog started. And to answer your question is, right. I needed to put these things down in writing. And I discovered a real love for that. I think God has gifted me in that area.
Very good. Yeah, that's so, the way that you described that had so much heart. I could tell it was from here.
Yes.
And so meaningful. And I think that, people who are working with you really appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are some of the breakthroughs or outcomes that you've been able to help people with? Do you have any stories that you can share?
Yeah. One of a big story that just came through just this past week with one of my clients, just part of my inner circle. We started working together 3.5 years ago. She just lost everything during COVID. Her business, she couldn't open it. She had, because of the shutdown, they wouldn't allow her to open her doors. She had a preschool, all of that. And she felt hopeless. So she started a business and we've been working together, become friends over the last 3.5 years. And just there's a lot of limiting beliefs, a lot of stories that we tell ourselves about the past that aren't necessarily true. It's how we see it. The past is not about the incidences that happened to us. It's the story that we tell ourselves about the past. It's what we say about the past. So for the last 3.5 years, we've been working through that together.
Okay.
And, bringing her to a place of real victory in her life where she is like, okay, this is who I am. I'm excited to go out and live life. She's putting all of the yuck behind her, realizing that it happened for her, not to her. And just got news that she just accepted like the mother of all jobs. So that's something that she'd been dreaming of, just a full circle. She's written a book. And I can't wait for it to come out. But all of that is because of the work that we've been doing the last 3.5 years. She is now fully leading her life.
You've got to give that some time, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's the advanced daily.
Okay.
It's 1,000 steps. It's not, nothing happens overnight. Nothing. Right? It took us 20 years to become an overnight success. Have you heard that before?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's all progress. It's so many beautiful things happen to us along the way, and a lot of hard things too. I think last year was probably one of the hardest years that my husband and I and our family has ever experienced. It was a very difficult year, but because of the work that I had done, that my husband has done the last 5 years, and the faith that was built and all these things, we were able to weather the storm. We were stronger. Yeah, but things still happen. Life still goes on. Circumstances are still hard, but we've developed the muscles and the mental fortitude and the faith to be able to get through it.
Yeah. Bob Donnell says, thank you for sharing, Cindee, and amen.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah. Wow. So let's explore your YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. Well,
That's kind of a new thing for you.
well, it is. In the course of all this, I got my real estate license back in 2018. So I did have a YouTube channel with the real estate. But this serves right now as forming the videos that I put onto our Patreon page.
Okay, and your
So-
Patreon page is where your
Community is.
your community is. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. So the Lead My Life community, and so these are videos that I've created for that. So we have a theme. You know, January was being intentional. February, awareness. Every week I put out an e-letter. I call it the Wednesday Wisdom with Cindee. You know, it comes out every Wednesday. And if you want to be a part to that, you know, so you can subscribe. It comes in your mailbox at 6, but it has a video with it, because I believe we either learn by hearing and watching something, or we can read it. So usually there's a 3-minute video that comes with my blog, and that's on YouTube. I do a Monday Mojo that kind of introduces what we'll be talking about this week and just some inspirational points, get you motivated for the week. And then I do something on Friday called What the Friday.
Okay.
And my whole premise is this triangle of work, faith, and life. So life, there's these 5 factors of life. So it's family, it's friends, it's finances, it's fitness and fun, and with an underlying faith, because that's what supports all of that. And so my What the Friday is taking one of the F's of life and expounding on it. So, you know, last Friday was, is God waiting on me? A lot of times I'll talk to people and they'll say, oh, you know what? I'm praying about that. God's just, you know, I'm just waiting on God to do something. But a lot of times God's waiting on us. And my God is a God of action. My Jesus was a God of, he was action. That man was on the move. Paul was action. He may have been in prison. And he may be waiting, but waiting is a verb. Waiting is action. We can be preparing and getting ready and everything during our waiting seasons, but is God waiting on you to move? Or are you just being lazy? It's a good question, because I found myself just going, I'll just wait on God. But really that was an excuse for me just to sit by the sidelines. So that's what I talk
a couple of times, being lazy. I don't see you as being lazy.
Well, it's a hard word, and you know what? I'm an Enneagram 1. I'm a perfectionist, so I get hard on myself.
Okay.
I get hard on myself. You know, sometimes we're called to do things and we just put them off, because we know it will be hard to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I mean by lazy. It's just, you know, maybe that's kind of a harsh word. So I get a little strong in my speech sometimes.
Yeah, like,
I don't
know. There's a little emotion built up behind that word for you.
Yes.
Well, it's okay to be hard on yourself sometimes, but I got to learn to put the hammer away.
Yeah.
Just
right. Yeah, and that's on Fridays. We do a feedback Friday, and we celebrate our wins, because to your point, and to what I just said, we oftentimes look a lot back on our failures and beat ourselves up about it.
Right.
And we don't enough look back and go, oh, you know what? That happened this week, and that was really exciting. Yay me.
Yes. Right. That's good. So you have a little reminder. Your videos are little short, little tidbits of information, inspiring and uplifting, and little encouragers to keep you moving along every day.
Yes.
That's
Keep
awesome.
going. Advance daily.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah.
So what does the future look like for you? What do you see coming down the road?
Well, what we're preparing for now is, you know, one of the things when you're an entrepreneur, as you probably know, it's hard. There's nothing easy about it. It gets lonely. You get tired. You take on a lot of, you know, different jobs. You know, your marketing, your finance, your all the things.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been working very hard on putting the right people in the right seats. That's really important.
Okay.
So I've been working hard doing that the last year. I do use two wonderful ladies in the Philippines. They're my VAs, and they do help me with video editing and stuff. So that's a great way for a solopreneur to, expand their business by realizing, okay, what is the best return on my investment of my time? If I'm sitting there adding data in, or I'm sitting there spending 3 hours editing a video, when my best thing is getting out there and talking to people. So that's one thing, getting people in the right seats. My mission is to raise up 1,000 leaders, women leaders. That's my goal. That is my goal. I'm giving myself like a 5-year time frame, but we have it built out. I've hired a marketing agency to help me get there. I want to do that through speaking, through coaching, and through writing. That's my focus. And if you really want to know, the main goal through all of that brings Lead My Life full circle, is that my husband and we are really focusing in on investing, learning a lot more about real estate investing. And eventually, I want to be able, through Lead My Life, be able to purchase, whether it's rental homes or duplexes or something like that, where we're able to hold a room or a unit off for a woman who is newly widowed, newly divorced, who is struggling to get back up on her feet again, to give them a year to get that fresh start. A year to get their feet back on the ground, a year, not that they don't have any skin in the game and they don't have to, pay a reduced rent or something like that, but give them the tools that they need to do this, to lead my life. Because a lot of times we just need to have a breath, all the responsibility. So that's how I want to bring the whole program full circle, is I want to have a kingdom impact on the world through Lead My Life.
Beautiful.
That's the goal.
It's happening.
Yeah, it does. When you plan it's one thing to create the vision, but if you make no plan around it, it does not happen. I talked to my hygienist when I was at the dentist, getting your teeth worked on, right. And they always talk to you.
Right?
I can't talk, but she knows what I do.
Right.
And she said, Cindee, you'll be so proud of me. I created a vision board. And I said, that's awesome. And she said, I asked her, when did you do it? 2 years ago. I said, okay. I go, how much of it has taken place? She goes, oh, well, it will someday. Someday becomes later. And I asked her, what kind of plan do you have with your vision board? Oh, I hadn't thought about that. So it comes with, we create a vision for our life. We make a plan, and then we track our habits. And that's how we get things done. That's what we didn't talk about my 90-day planners with purpose, but that's what I do, is I help women create a vision for the year. We narrow it down to 90 days, break that down into what am I going to do this week? And we accomplish things. So those are my goals.
Excellent. Monthly, daily. You can break it down as far as you want.
I call it the 1-4-3 method. So it's daily, 4 weeks, 3 months.
Okay.
1 day into 4 weeks, and then 3 months, which is the 90 days. 1-4-3.
That keeps it pretty simple to document and track.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
You journal? Do you talk about journaling at all?
Yeah. So in my 90-day planners, each week starts with a story, bedtime story.
Okay. Story.
On Mondays, it starts with a motivational story, and it's usually something from our life, or something, and it's all themed. This year's all on growth, but and then it has a 10-minute teaching video with it.
Okay.
So it sets you up for the week. So what I want to create is this interactive type planner. So it's not you're just opening up, because how many times do we open up a planner and then we get like the first 2 weeks done, and then we start forgetting about it.
Right.
And then it gets shoved to the wayside. I want your plans to actually happen. So that's why you get involved in the coaching program. That's why we have the planner. You write things down. When we write things down and we tell people, things happen. things move forward. And that's where all the writing, I'm writing like a crazy fiend all the time. I love writing. There's just so much.
What's your favorite thing to write about?
Really, I love telling the stories of our travels, our climbing mountains together, of stories from the kids growing up, just because there's such teaching lessons. So when you read one of my blogs or stories in here, it begins usually with a story, and then I love bringing it around to something teachable, a teachable moment. And I'm just crazy about acronyms. I use them all the time, like flourish. Rest means to relax, to enjoy, to be still, and to travel. I mean, I have all, but that's how I write. Everything is a teachable moment.
Okay. There's an art to that. But I think to do it well, my dad and both my parents were English majors, so I was blessed with all kinds of. We always had this huge library of books, and I could go explore the world.
Yes,
it was a tremendous blessing, and my dad loved to write too, so that was. It's always fun to talk to people who like to write for me.
Oh, yeah. And what goes with that is reading. Reading and learning and experiencing things gives us like this whole wealth of information. So one of the things that I do with my ladies is, what are you reading this week? What are you reading? We establish a morning routine, because that's crucial. You have to have a morning routine so you don't wake up in chaos. You're reading, you're journaling about it, you're putting it down on paper, and that sets you up for the day. But yes, everybody can write. You just have to get into the practice of it, and you have to have enough in here to write about, which means you need to be out there learning every day.
Yeah. How do you feel about, like you mentioned earlier, the different people they learn in different ways? Like you put the videos up and you've got copy, and you've also maybe have some audio, so people can learn in whatever style they like to learn in. How about journaling? Do you talk about journaling other than physical writing? Like,
yeah. So
record themselves.
Right. So there's a couple different ways. I didn't bring up too that I was a fifth grade teacher. That was, did I? I did.
You mentioned that you were a teacher.
Yeah. So one of the things that I really press is that they pick up a journal. My group, my community, and a lot of times they'll struggle with journaling because they feel like they have to fill up a whole page, or they feel like there is a certain way to journal. And I always have my journals in front of me, but I just pick up things. Sometimes I draw. Sometimes I'll just write, like this, just like write some word, form thoughts around it. Sometimes I'll write out prayers. Sometimes I'll write out scripture, or I tell them, if something comes to mind and you're on your treadmill or you're out on a walk, voice record. Take your phone. Think about what you're saying. And a lot of times, we're working on developing our communication skills and learning how to connect. I didn't know how to do that. I joined Toastmasters for a year so that I could learn how to speak without, all my filler words. But that's really important too, is just being able to connect with people and to communicate in a way that's meaningful. So I always encourage people, if you're having trouble formulating a thought, when you stand in front of an audience, when you're driving along in the car, put your phone up there, put it on voice memo, and start verbalizing what you're thinking. Saying it out loud, not just in your head, but say it out loud. Form the thought. It's very difficult if you're not used to doing that. It's weird. It's weird that it would be, because it so well in here.
Yeah.
Be able to speak it is something.
And you hear yourself saying it, and there's like, "Ooh, I sound weird."
Yeah.
Like, get over that.
Yeah, but that's how you practice. You record yourself, videotape yourself. You know, if you're in one of the most important things we can learn if we in leadership skills is communication.
Mm.
And you have, excuse me, I'm getting emotional. You have to be able to see what you look like to perfect that and feel comfortable doing that. And so record yourself on video. Nobody sees it. It's just you.
Right.
Do that.
That's how I started. I
Yeah.
was most of my career I was in sales,
Yeah.
and I sold to big companies internationally, and I was used to, doing presentations and talking to people all over the place, but I had so much trouble picking up the phone and just doing this, just talking and recording myself. So I decided to do 100 short live videos, live broadcasts on Facebook, and
Yes.
I did that one a day.
Yeah.
And the first 20 were really
Oh, yeah.
hard.
Oh, yeah.
But there was nobody watching.
Yeah.
But it gave me so much confidence after
Yes.
that. Like, well, okay, that wasn't painful. I didn't die. I'm still here.
Right. Right.
And it started developing my ability to speak
Mhm.
impromptu, and helps me with this video podcast too.
Right. Right. You said a really key word there, and it's confidence.
Mm.
And confidence, my definition is that quiet inner knowledge that we are capable. And capable, that CAP means to take in. And so we need to develop the capacity to take in new things. And we become confident. The more we prepare, like what you were talking about, doing the 100 voice or FaceTime videos or Facebook, the more we prepare, the more we do it. It's like all of a sudden we can sit up with our shoulders back and our head held high because we've done the work.
Yeah, that's the key right there.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do the work.
Yeah. Different than worthy, different than feeling worthy. Confidence is our outward expression, but worthy is that inner knowing that you are capable, that you are loved, that you are enough, that you are accepted, and that what you have to offer is of value to the world. It's confidence. You can walk into a room with your head held high and fake it till you make it with confidence. Mm-hmm. But being able to walk into a room of people you don't know and know that you belong there, that's worthy. It's a different feeling.
That's a striking difference. Mm-hmm. I've never heard that articulated that way, but you're right. Mm-hmm. It's such a big difference, and I've experienced that.
Yeah, we all do. We all do.
Yeah. Wow. So inspirational. Our time is almost up.
Yes.
I have one more question. Okay. Do you have a couple more minutes?
Sure.
Okay, cool. I asked this question of everybody on the show, and it's simply this: of all the decisions that the leadership decisions that you've made in your life, going back to the very beginning, what was the boldest leadership decision that you've made, and what were the consequences?
The overarching thing that stands out the most is moving outward. Nothing ever happens if you don't move out, if you don't take that first step, if you don't open the door on your home and move outward. Even if you don't feel like it, even if you're scared, even if you have doubts, it doesn't matter. You can do it. Move out. It's hard, but you have to do it. You have to. Most important decision I've ever made is to move outward.
And what was that experience for you? What happened?
Well, it's been the catalyst for everything that's occurred in the last 5-6 years of my life, and even before. So I explained to you how I moved outward and said I'm going to start meeting friends. Well, because I moved outward and took a risk and started inviting women to coffee that I didn't know, I met my accountability partners, who in turn gave me the courage to move outward and start speaking. which gave me the courage to join Toastmasters, which gave me the courage to speak in front of people, which gave, on and on and on and on. But it took that one step over the threshold saying, I am going to do this. I am really uncomfortable. I'm really nervous. I don't want to, but I know I need to. So I'm going to move outward. So I think everything has happened because I did that. Even going to John Maxwell's, I had to put down a chunk of change to do that. I had to fly across the country by myself, stay in a hotel room by myself for a week. I took the upgrade, took the top floor. I got a driver to take all the things. I did all the things. I moved outward, but the connections and the networking. I get to be on Zoom calls with one of the most powerful mentors in the world because I moved out. That wouldn't have happened if I never did that.
Beautiful. It's like what Reverend Schuller in the Crystal Cathedral used to say, begun is half done.
Ah, yes.
That reminds me of you.
Only halfway there, only a minuscule. We're just starting. Stepping out.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. Oh, my pleasure. And hang on a sec. I'm in the broadcast and we'll chat for just a second.
Okay.